put them through a 3 to 6 months of induction program and make them billable ready to work on live projects, right? And the gap during my time, almost around 20 years back, in terms of what the industry needed to what the colleges were churning was close to 25 to around 30%, right? And if I really fast forward it to now, I currently see the gap really widening, and it is as high as almost 45 to 50% in terms of the skill gap currently. And these are there are a lot of plenty of jobs in the market, but the issue is there are not sufficient people with the right kind of a skill sets that I'm looking out for. Right, jobs are in the areas such as your big data, in terms of machine learning, cloud, artificial intelligence, robotics. But where are the students who have even a basic understanding of the subjects? Right. So if I look at the current industry, right, almost around 40% of the IT professionals who are already working in large companies, they need to upskill themselves over the next few years. And almost 48% of the Indian employer report a huge difficulties in terms of filling up their job vacancies due to talent shortages. It's not because they are not jobs, it is because they are not right kind of a people in the jobs that they are looking out for. So coming back to your question on how campus recruitment has changed, we would be looking for students who are aware of new skill sets, which I mentioned earlier. As employers, we will expect a basic knowledge, and we would be willing to make the effort in terms of training to augment their existing skills, but not really okay with training them from absolutely from ground zero, from scratch. That is what has really changed.
Very well said, Sunil. So that brings me to my another question, which is that what in your view is the biggest limitation of Indian education ecosystem when it comes to closing that skill gap that you're mentioning? Because as we all know that we don't have limitation in terms of job availability. It is actually around the skill gap which exists in our education system. So what do you think is the biggest limitation over there?
Yeah, see, basically the pace at which new technologies are emerging and old technologies are really getting faded out and becoming redundant is really getting higher. Every 4 to 5 years, there's a big technology shift. And it is the duty of the academicians to keep an eye of these kind of a major shifts in technology landscape. The government and the education boards may take time to implement these changes, but the colleges can take some really proactive measures and include courses which are relevant and where there is a big demand, right? If I again assess the current skill gap in a country like India, and I may say it could be anywhere between around 45 to 50%, but it is no different even in advanced countries. When I was there in US, when I was looking at the kind of a skill gap kind of a metrics, it was anywhere between 15 to around 25% in a country like US, right? So even they are lagging. It's not that the students coming over there, they are ready from the industry from day zero, right? So even there's a gap, but the gap in India is really, really high. So basically, there has to be a dedicated set of people who keep a track on technology trends and what the market is looking out for. And your students might have great aptitude and might come out with flying colors in those aptitude tests. But when it comes to technology readiness, unfortunately, they are not even exposed to some of the latest trends. And that's where I feel there's a huge, massive kind of a gap, right? And and I think until unless we bridge this, and if we don't take proactive kind of a measures from both the IT, from the colleges themselves as well as the education ministry, there's no way that we can see hope. Unfortunately, they should work together hand in glove.
Yeah, very well said, Sunil. So I think like because of this entire issue that our students are also reading news that there is a wide skill gap which exists and student readiness is a big question mark right now. Because of that, in the current environment, I have personally spoken to many students, and there's a lot of uncertainty in them about how we are going to enter into the workforce, or how we are going to basically kickstart our career. And they are still not very sure because there's a lot of noise out there. They still don't know that what are exactly companies looking when they are coming for campus hiring, because some of the colleges are proactively working towards bridging that skill gap as fast as possible, but some of them are still not very sure, and because of that students are in dilemma and in a lot of uncertainty right now. What do you think that they should be doing to basically um, and what are companies like, what do they need to basically do to help them in understanding that what are companies looking for when they are coming for campus hiring?
Cool. It's a great question, Pratik. See, look, I can not generalize it, but I'll also look at what I look out for when I go out for hiring. Then I can also give you some of the generic trends that most of the companies are looking out for, right? So different companies have got different criterias and expectation from candidate. But if you can look into it, there are a few things that I personally really are keep my eyes and ears really open on. One is the internships, right? What is the nature of internships that a student has done in the last 4 years? What is it that you have learned from these kind of internships? What have you personally contributed in this kind of a projects, right? When you're looking at this internship, most of them are like you do it in a group, you do it in a group or 4 or 5. But I really dig into what is your exact contribution in that kind of a project, right? But again, going back to my college days, uh, honestly, there were some of the projects where I was just there hanging around, right? I didn't contribute anything, but still I got the credit for those kind of projects. And most of us do it unknowingly or unknowingly. But I think now people are really curious to know what is your exact contribution in terms of how you contributed to the project. And I'm basically trying to assess the kind of a learning curve of the students and his or her curiosity levels by looking into the quality of internship, right? And the second one, which I'm looking out for, is the college really enabling a regular kind of interaction with your alumni network by working with various industries, which will give them a confidence to take this kind of interviews boldly, right? So if you look at any of the colleges, some of the best practices some of the colleges are doing is they assign a mentor to even your third year kind of a student, and for next 2 years they'll have an industry veteran, their alumni who could be just 3 to 4 years into work, but these are the guys who have seen that kind of industry for 3 4 years, and they can give a lot of insights to a bunch of people who are students who are about to pass out, right? And by regularly interacting with them, that gives them a kind of a confidence level to be talking the language that an industry person was is supposed to be really talking at the end of the day, right? And the third one is going beyond academics, right? So I also look out for what is it that the students have proactively done to learn a particular skill set, right? There are a lot of free courses which are available on the internet, and you can learn all the skills. And has the candidate really shown curiosity to go ahead and explore on his own and learn new skill sets? And then this clearly gives a very good signal if the candidate is curious and if the candidate is generally motivated, right? If you look at it, internships are most of the time facilitated by the colleges, but when you're talking about going beyond academics, no one is forcing you, no one is putting a gun at your head saying you need to do XYZ kind of a courses. Only when you are really curious, you will go ahead and do some 8 to 10 different online certifications because you really want to get into the depth of it, right? And lastly, all of us are also looking at how do people really focus on soft skills, and this has to be taught from your very first year of your engineering of your college, right? You can't. It's not like a magic wand that you can cramp up everything. Last 3 months before your campus recruitment, you can develop those kind of soft skills. It has to be developed over a period of time. And most of the tier one kind of a companies who come for campus recruitment, they have got a round basically focused on soft skills and see how well a candidate can absorb pressure and how the person reacts in a tough situation, whether they lose their cool, are they calm, are they composed, are they able to handle the situation and resolve amicably? Because this soft skill becomes, we almost give around 25 to 30% weightage to your aspect of soft skill when you're doing any kind of a campus recruitment. So these would be my top 4 things that I'll be really looking out for.
Great points, Sunil. So I also want to understand one very important thing. Like this is majorly to this is the standard on which you, whenever you go to campus hiring, you usually hire people on these standards. What do you think is because I think the top students have are basically trying to figure it out all by themselves or through external help and other things because of the curiosity, because of other things, on how to get into the top companies, how to basically get those jobs. It's about the bottom 70% of the students when they don't know how to basically get into the top companies, as well as there is a new ecosystem which is created in last 2 decades in our country, which is around startup ecosystem, and they don't know like what needs to be done to basically enter into startup ecosystem as well. Do you think the pointers that you have mentioned is also applicable to startup ecosystem, or there is something else that the students need to basically do to enter over there as well?
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty much it also covers it. I covered most of it topics in bits and pieces earlier, but
Yeah.
if you look at it, almost around 50% of the heavy lifting to secure a job for yourself as a student, it falls on the shoulders of the institute, and other 50% is the total creativity and efforts put in by the students. There's no way you can put 100% on the shoulders of the campus and say, hey, you promised me campus recruitment, and there's no ways you can fight out that kind of a battle, right? It's a 50-50. It's a complete partnership mode that you really work on, because I've seen this time and again on this part. So I think there are a couple of things out here. Were you able to really put in 100% of your efforts sincerely during your internship to really contribute to the success of the project or not, right? So that's one thing that you should always be looking out for. Have you really put in effort to learn new skills on your own? Which gives you an idea if you're a self-starter or a motivated person or not, right? And if you're still applying for hardcore engineering roles, companies are again giving a lot of importance and weightage to soft skills. And I think this is completely an effort that a student should put on their own. College can only do so much, but if you are not able to improve your soft skills and do something on the sidelines, because you know exactly, forget the college is nobody to judge you whether you got good soft skills or not. You yourself will be knowing that you're good or bad, right? And you have to keep honing those kind of skills that you till you reach that level where you got that kind of confidence to crack those kind of interview. And lastly, just take time to assess what your core strengths are, and it should genuinely show out. Do not take up a profession because it just pays your bills. Do it because you really enjoy working in that kind of a space or a sector. It could be anything, right? It could be before your engineering. It could also be a hobby that you're really passionate about and you're really going deep into it. And I think that will give you a very good indicator for us that they have got depth. And if the person is really motivated, that person can really go deep. And that's what we are. We are all looking for the signals out here more than anything else. There's no way, even after all this, we might go completely wrong in terms of our hiring, but at least we cover by all this kind of basic pointers.
Yeah, so this will cover the basis basically, and then it's all about how the student is actually cracking these opportunities.
Exactly.
Um, so Sunil, I think uh, I want to know, like, since you have such a vast experience, wanted to understand from you, because one thing which I'm noticing, be it in colleges, be it in Masai, that people tend to basically wait for their dream roles and miss out on a lot of opportunities. Um, and they usually consider the miss out that they are happening or that is like happening with them as their second option. So from your overall 2 decades of experience and by working with many startups and mentoring several folks, wanted to understand that is there any instance in your career where you believe that the second option actually turned out to be the good one as compared to waiting for your dream option to basically materialize?
Yeah, it's a great question again. I'll give you my perspective on it. And one thing is, I think each one of us should dream, and there's something fundamentally wrong if you don't dream, right? So if you don't have dream, that means you don't have desires, and frankly, you don't lose anything by dreaming. And what is more important is, are you putting the efforts that you're putting is commensurate with the amount of hard work that you're putting to reach your goals and achieve them, right? And I had the good fortune of working with some of the iconic companies in my generation, from Microsoft, Nokia, Google, Amazon, Lightspeed Ventures. And the quest to learn and to do something more was pretty much fundamental over there. And it was always there. And in places where I have failed in achieving my goals, I've seen that as a learning experience. And I have revisited the same opportunities at a later point in time, say after a couple of years, right? So it is very, very important to stay focused till you achieve what you want. And moreover, there's always this next shiny company or a next shiny piece of technology that you want to join or gain mastery over. So it's a never ending kind of a journey. So you should keep learning and be curious till your last breath of your life. That's the only way that you can really feel motivated about what you're trying to achieve.
Got it. Got it. It's very insightful, Sunil. And then my another question, which is again more towards your career, so that people can learn from it. And wanted to understand that if you look back right now on your entire experience, entire career, what do you think that three things that you wish you knew when you were starting your career back in 1996, 1998, when you were starting your
Yeah.
career? What now, if you look back, what do you think?
Yeah, there are a lot of things that I want to undo and do it right this time around. But unfortunately, I think at least I realized that these are the two or three things that I could have done better. And I think it was a function of the environment and the ecosystem that I came in those era or that generation altogether, right? If you're looking at 2 decades, it's a completely different generation. And wish someone really told me that it's okay to fail and not feel ashamed when you fail, right? And for us, failure was the death nail, right? It's all over. And luckily, in this generation, I think the parents give their kids option to pursue whatever they are comfortable to do, right? You want to be a blogger, okay, beta, do go, do whatever you want, right? You want to be a TikToker, you want to do a YouTuber. I think the parents are giving that kind of opportunity to the students to really pursue their kind of a dreams, and wish someone had even told me that it's okay to fail. And so I could have experimented more early on in my career. And the second most important thing is I really wish I had a mentor early on in my career to share my ups and downs and basically have a sounding board who could have guided me in the right kind of a direction. It was more about me talking to some of my friends who are my peers who are equally in the dark side or who are equally dumb as me, who we used to discuss on how do I look into my career opportunities. But I think now by default, if you look at most of the Western countries, and you have a mentor pretty much in your third or fourth or final year, you have a mentor. And it's okay to have multiple mentors. But throughout your kind of a journey in your entire career, even now, I've got a couple of mentors. Just it's not about they giving me a pointed answer or a solution. It's just about a sounding board saying, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking about, and what do you think about it?" And because of the kind of a vast experience that they have got, they'll be able to guide me better, right? So these are the two things which I feel if I had those kind of a support from an ecosystem standpoint, I could have definitely done much, much better than what I've been doing now.
Awesome. So Sunil, I want you to basically double down on this piece that you have mentioned, which is finding out the right mentors. Because when you're in college and you don't have complete clarity on who is the right mentor, who is not a right mentor for you, and till what time in your career that particular mentor is going to play a pivotal
Yeah,
role,
yeah.
and when it is not. So how do you basically build that capabilities to decide that who is good and who is an appropriate mentor for you, and what is the duration that someone can help you out with? And there are some mentors, those who can be your lifelong mentors, but basically making this decision making from a college student perspective.
Yeah, I think at different points in your career, you need different kind of a mentors, and especially when you're looking at a mentor you're looking for as a mentor for someone who's in their third or fourth year of college, I think usually it's good to look for a mentor who has been working for at least around 3 to 4 years or 5 years. And you don't need a mentor who has got 10 years of experience, because he doesn't have any kind of a motivation to mentor you.
Correct.
The A guy with 3 to 4 years, if you go and say, boss, I need gyan from you, I need mentorship, and he'll be really delighted. Wow, someone is even asking me for help, right? It's not
Yeah.
like 10, 15 people have been asking him for help. It's just that um, this 3 to 4 years of his professional journey, it is super, super crucial and critical. He would have learned a lot of things in those 3 to 4 years. And that is the kind of insight that he'll be able to give, which is value in gold for anyone who's just passing out, right? How do you crack up? What is the industry really looking out for? What does a campus recruitment really look like once you come in? How do you work on projects and those kind of insights? So look out for mentors who are less than around 4 to 5 years of experience in your when you're looking for very first mentor, and you can have multiple mentors over there. And usually, a alumni could be a great mentor for you, because there's also a kind of a bond which has been there, and the colleges can do a great job in facilitating and finding the right kind of a mentor for the students. You can have a mentor pool for colleges, and each mentor can have at least on 6 or 7 different kind of mentees. And even now, I mentor close to around 10 students from my alumni in Bangalore, right? So it's like an ongoing process, and there are a lot of people who do that, right? And at a later point in time, you need guys who are sector specific. For example, you want to make a career out of retail, you want to do have a career out of hospitality or healthcare. Then you look into very sector specific kind of a mentors, so who will be able to give you insights. But first 5 years is very, very generic, and it's more of life skills more than anything else.
Yeah, so you are basically experimenting while entering into the corporate world and
Exactly.
seeing where you want to basically go in life.
Exactly.
Got it. Got it. So, Sunil, I think like you are a big mentor for us when we have started Masai, and when you basically invested in Masai. And at the same point of time, you have mentored several startups over the period of last 20, 25 years. Wanted to basically understand that uh, what insight do you have for all the budding entrepreneurs, specifically from college, those who think about starting up, and also at the same point of time, college students, those who think entrepreneurship is something which they want to do. Because from what I am seeing is that we are making entrepreneurship very, very popular, but at the same point of time, it also looks like an easy way out when you start up, that you don't want to basically struggle and you can start up. But at the same point of time, there are very few people, those who are uh, it's again like a very, very tough journey which people don't realize till the time they enter into it. So what insights do you have for folks, those who are budding entrepreneurs or thinking about starting up?
Sure. I think this is my favorite topic, and thanks for asking this. See, nowadays, everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, right? There's a
Yeah.
lot of glamour associated with it, and these entrepreneurs are seen as rock stars, and wish I was born in this kind of era and I could have done a couple of startups. And the most important thing to understand out here is entrepreneurship is not easy. It is hard. It is really, really hard. You should be ready to give your next 20 years of this journey to be building a very successful company. It's not a for the faint-hearted. It's not like you can put in, get in money for 4 or 5 years and you can lead a cushy life for your rest of your life. That's not the way at all, right? And when you're thinking of starting a startup idea, spend a lot of time to first introspect yourself on why you're embarking this journey in the very first place. If the motivation is just money, you are bound to fail. Take it from writing from me from day one, right? Even you have gone through multiple kind of journeys, and if it is only money that you're looking out for because the incentives are not aligned, and it won't work. If it is a deeper level of a mission and a vision where you're embarking on this kind of a journey, and you are looking at a purpose in life to enable so many people to get jobs or for the overall well-being of the society. If you got that kind of a mission, then that's the only way that you can really reach your kind of a purpose and be really successful, because this is all passion driven kind of a projects, right? No one is putting a gun at your head and saying, hey, do this kind of a startup. You could have done anything in life, but you chose to be an entrepreneur, right? So it is your personal kind of a choice. Secondly, do not just jump into ideas which comes across your mind, right? Take sufficient time to mull over it, think through the competitive landscape, business models, and why you will be more successful in that venture that you're trying to build, right? People are always in a hurry to develop and build a product which is actually the most easiest thing to build, right? So always keep telling entrepreneurs, show me a company which has failed because of bad technology, right? None. All the companies which are failing now, especially in last 12 months, are companies because of bad business models. No one has even thought about a business model over there. So just start think about business models side by side when you're trying to build a company, and how do you really build a sustainable profit generating kind of a business model. So my advice is to take time to not just think about technology but the business models around it, and if your if your company needs to be really successful and long standing, even after you're gone, right? So it has to be there for 20 years and even much more beyond. And last piece of advice, I think this is what I keep telling most of the entrepreneurs. This is not for a person who is very sensitive and emotional about what he's trying to do. You have to have a very, very thick skin. I think in Hindi you call it moti chamdi. I think because you will hear no most of the times in your first 4 to 5 years of your journey, and it's very easy to get disheartened. Right? Almost take it from me, 9 out of 10 times you'll hear a no. You'll hear no even from your colleagues within your company. You couldn't be the founder and CEO, but I think people come with such individual kind of bent of mind that they will very clearly say no to a lot of things and be ready to be taking it like a bitter pill and just swallow it. And it's a kind of a habit that you'll get eventually used to. And I think these are the few things which I really would like to convey. Don't hurry it up. Take your time in order to be really building it up from scratch. With that, I really want to wish all the very best to all the budding entrepreneurs out there.
So, Sunil, this is like I want to double down on one particular thing,
Yeah,
because one thing which we keep on reading about, or the budding entrepreneurs keep on reading about, is that startup is all about jumping from an airplane and figuring it out things, and while building a parachute while by the time you are landing. So you need to figure out everything. You just need to get started. That is one piece of advice which was
yeah,
quite prevalent. Okay.
yeah,
And on the other hand, after mentoring so many startups and after seeing so many iconic companies, work with them, mentor them, you are saying that you need to take time to basically not to hurry, understand the problem first, develop that passion, that this is something which you want to do for next 20 years, 30 years, 40 years of your life. So these are two stark
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
philosophies, and
School of
wanted to
thoughts.
understand. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No. This is. See, I think the devil is in the details, right? I'll tell you why people are getting carried away with the statements which have been made. When I was at Google, it
Yeah.
was very clear. We had a philosophy saying, hey, I don't really care. Get a billion users. I'll learn how to monetize. Okay. And people took that statement so seriously. Tell me, how many of us can even get a billion users in our lifetime, right? Is it even possible, right? So there are hardly 20 or 30 companies in the entire world who has got a billion users.
Yeah.
And it holds, this statement holds good when you're working at Google or
Yeah.
Microsoft or Amazon. It
Yeah.
doesn't hold good when you're starting up, right?
Yeah.
They are no longer, these guys are no longer a startup. They have been in business for 20 to 25 years. They are not startups.
Yeah.
So people started misconstructing this kind of a statements, and they start feeling that it's applicable to them,
Yeah.
right? But now if I look at it after mentoring so many startups, uh, I'm clearly advising them, if on day zero, you should also feel it's perfectly okay if you tell me that in another 2 years from now, I will think about monetizing, and this is how I'm monetizing. But you can't say that I'll switch my brains at that point in time after 2 years, after getting 100 million users, that how I'll monetize, because it'll never ever work. You should be, it should happen in parallel, and you should be trying to reach that kind of a goal of getting that 120 million kind of a users, or whatever kind of a benchmark that you have. And then when the timing is right, then you open the tab and you can see the floodgates opening up in terms of monetization. So it has to be a parallel kind of activity. And unfortunately, the other piece that we are seeing is, I don't know whether you know the statistics, almost around 7 out of 10 founders are coming from a tech background, right? And just because you're coming from a tech background, you can't give an excuse saying, I don't understand business. If you don't understand business, you are not doing it for charity. You better don't be in this business then, right? If you can't do business. I know your primary skill set is technology. You better ramp up on business so that you are able to sustain yourself. Otherwise, in another 1 year, your company is shutting down for sure. Take it from writing, right? So it's very
Yeah.
important to have that kind of a business sense. This is one of the most important thing, which is clearly missing out in the Indian ecosystem, right? They don't think we are great in terms of technology. We can build the greatest tech product coming out of the world, but unfortunately, the ability to think about the business model is clearly lacking. There's a huge gap when compared to the kind of things that I'm seeing in US and other parts of Europe or Israel, because they think about business simultaneously and goes hand in glove.
Got it. So, Sunil, in terms of business understanding, okay, how will, like, apart from having a mentor that we have discussed now, that you should be having some mentors, but even if you have a mentor, which is your alumni who has started up, won't be able to give you sufficient time. College education in general doesn't have entrepreneurship as a track yet. And what do you think, like, what are the ways for a tech geek in college to learn more about the fundamentals of business? And what are some of the things that someone needs to basically do over there? There are a lot of free resources, but if you can, if you think that there is a better way for them to basically expedite that learning, that would be great to basically know.
Yeah, I think the best way to get on ground kind of a field experience is to work with this kind of entrepreneurs, right? Without expecting anything, without even getting any kind of a stipend or anything, right? Just be with them and say, hey, I can contribute to XYZ kind of a things in a startup, right? You can do as basic thing as customer service, right? Run customer service for them. Do all the jugards that early stage startups really want. They basically need someone to really run around. If you go and ask early stage kind of a entrepreneur and say, hey, I'm really keen to learn from you and give me some 10 tasks, they'll give you some 10 tasks, which is very, very tactical. But you'll get this kind of a life experience from them. And this tactical experience are also equally important, right? So you can't be thinking about strategic from day one of your career, right? You have to do some basic things, how to set up a company. Why don't you run around and go to a bank and why don't you set it up, and can you help me do that? Why
Yeah.
don't you do around 100 customer surveys and go to some 30, 40 companies and do that? Why don't you build a report for me on that, right? And the
Yeah.
soft skills part of it, you will be able to do all of that. None of the, if you go and ask any of the startup founders who are early stage, if they say, I'll do free work for you and you tell me what to do, they'll never say no,
Correct.
right? Because it's
Yeah.
additional hands for them. And this is the best way to really learn. And it is for you to impress upon them that you're hungry to learn from them, right?
Yeah.
And then that's one thing which I really advise everyone to really do. Apart from your academics, have this kind of life lessons pretty much early on. At least have this 4 to 5 kind of a side projects which you have done in your career in first 4 years. Otherwise, there's no way that you'll be able to get kind of a life skills one fine morning that you wake up and you learn everything. It's not going to happen.
Awesome. So I think, Sunil, it was very, very insightful for several people, those who are basically listening to us on live webinar. And I think some really great piece of advice for the students. So Sunil, I think, like, we are going to wrap this session now. And
Yeah, if I may,
yeah,
I'll just
yeah,
want
yeah,
to end with my favorite quote on education. I think formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. So keep learning every single day of your life. And there's a quote from Jim Rohn, who's a motivational speaker and a American entrepreneur, right? So I think it's all at the end of the day, it's all about your self education that you need to keep learning every single day of your life.
Awesome. It's a beautiful quote. I think like I have read it some like 2 3 years back.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing quote, and I
Yeah.
think it is going to inspire so many budding students, those who are either going to start their career in corporate or they are going to basically start up. So thank you so much for taking out time, Sunil, on Sunday morning, and
Um,
for all the enlightenment which is through your piece of advices for college students, college and colleges in general, that what they need to basically work on. Thank you so much.
cool. Thanks a lot, and happy Sunday for all of you. Happy holiday. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hi.
Hi, Akhil. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't see many options in front of my Zoom, so I think it's all good.
Yeah. The team has.
Okay. So is my video on or not?
No, your video is not on.
But I don't see the option also. I think they'll have to give me some permission or something.
Uh, okay. Can you please check?
Join as speaker.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I can see you, and I'm sure you can hear me now.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear, Akhil. Thank you so much for taking out time on Sunday afternoon. And I think
My
like
pleasure.
we have some colleges from Jaipur, those who are attending it right now with us in this. So I'm in Jaipur right now.
Acha,
Uh,
nice.
and we have some audience which is attending it live. I'll first quickly give them a quick background about you, although you don't need any introduction, Akhil. But let me try my best to basically give a background. So Akhil is my college senior. He graduated from IIT Kanpur,
No, I'm IIT
and
Bombay. Amit is your senior. I'm IIT Bombay.
oh, you are IIT Bombay. I
Yes.
always thought that you are
No,
from
no, no. I'm
Kanpur.
IIT Bombay.
Okay, awesome. So this अच्छा अभी तक तो फिर then I was thinking that all my seniors are there in
Me and Saurav
cool.
are IIT Bombay. Amit is IIT
Yeah.
Kanpur.
So Akhil graduated from IIT Bombay, then from chemical engineering,
Yes.
and then he has worked in Oracle, and since last 1 decade, he has been a co-founder and CTO of No Broker, which is world's largest C2C platform to enable real estate transaction without involving any intermediaries, and it's India's first prop tech unicorn. Correct, Akhil?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. So, welcome on board, Akhil, and I'm sure it is going to be an interesting session and very insightful for the entire audience base. Um, so, Akhil, like as you did your bachelor's in chemical engineering, how did this happen? Like being a CTO of tech-based disruptor unicorn. Tell us about the journey because it's quite an interesting journey, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I think, and I'm sure it's true even now. So when you went to IIT, I went to IIT, correct? Getting into IIT, cracking JE itself was a prestigious thing, correct? And
Yeah.
yeah, बोलते थे अगर एक बार IIT हो जाए फिर तुम्हारी लाइफ सेट है, correct? And then uh, so I didn't know anything about IITs until I passed out from 10th. I had just heard about PETs, which was pre-engineering tests, so RPET, CPET, and all those things were there. And there used to be PMT and CPMT, central PMT and state PMTs. And that's when I used to think, why exactly there's no central PET? That's when somebody told कि यार ये एक JEE होता है, which is like CPET,
Yeah.
and उसमें आपको National Engineering College में admission मिलता है. And that is how I got to know about IITs. एंड तो लोगों ने बोला बस इस एग्जाम को पास कर लो एंड देन योर लाइफ इज सेट, उसके बाद तो कुछ देखना ही नहीं है, लोग आपके पीछे भागेंगे. एंड आई थिंक दैट वाज वन वन फैलेसी. एंड व्हेन वी गॉट थ्रू जेई, तो अब ये हुआ, आई गॉट 991 रैंक एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. So I could have got, I think, computers at Guwahati or maybe ISM Dhanbad. But घर वालों ने बोला कि नहीं नहीं ज्यादा दूर नहीं जाना है. And until I think that time I was 18, I had never moved out of Kota, which is my native. And मैंने सोचा है बॉम्बे जाते हैं, like it's like city of dreams, correct? और कहाँ जाएंगे?
Yeah.
तो बॉम्बे में then I could have got chemical engineering dual degree or I would have got civil. Civil नहीं करेंगे, chemical looks interesting, so let's
Yeah.
do chemical. And that is how the journey started, frankly. And
Yeah.
फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर वी फ्लंक लाइक एनीथिंग, क्योंकि लोगों ने बोल दिया था अब तो तुम आईआईटीएन हो जाओगे तो कुछ करना नहीं पड़ेगा. एंड देन आफ्टर फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर आई स्कोर्ड 5.73, although I passed out at 7.7. But एक सीनियर आया, बोलते क्या कर रहे हो तुम, लाइफ खराब कर लोगे अपनी, इस तरीके से कुछ नहीं होता है. एंड दैट इज व्हेन
Hmm.
वी रियलाइज कि वी नीड टू स्टडी आल्सो.
Yeah.
And chemical, how the transition happened was, I think, uh, IITs or any other college, basically, for that matter, that enables you to do anything what you want, correct? It's more of like it's a gateway to the world. You go out of your house for the first time, you meet the friends, you do lots of stuff together, and chemical engineering was like chill. We could score good with little little hard work. And by the time my fifth year came, dual degree project used to be there. Some bit of computers was involved. So I was doing my thesis in control systems, and that is when I got introduced to computers. So my guide gave me a laptop at that point of time. Said, "Is pe kaam karna hai." And then I started doing something on MATLAB. So that was my first introduction to programming language. And obviously, MATLAB is not a programming language, but that is what we used to think at that point of time.
Hmm.
And then the campus came. The campus, I always thought I'll not do anything in software. Either it will be Shell BCG kind of a company or general management, or I'll do an MBA. And I was preparing for MBA. But then Oracle came to the campus, and for the first time, they opened for non-computer science. तो अब जब ये होता है, that time Oracle, Microsoft, Yahoo, these used to be very very big names, correct? So then they said, okay, come and give a test. तो एक quantitative analysis test हुआ. Obviously scored good on that particular thing, and I think I was two or three people were the only one who got selected from chemical engineering for the interview. वहां पे किसी ने बोल दिया, अरे आई है तो सब ब्रांच से एक एक बंदा तो लेके जाएगी, so you should go for interviews. And I still recall the day interview was there. In my wing, we had all India rank 3 and 4, my juniors,
Hmm.
and one of them is again from Kota Love. So उनको बुलाया, कुछ पढ़ा दो, correct? So they taught me the queues, the stack, the linked list in that particular day. Went to Oracle, they asked to write a code. I said, I don't know how to write a code, but I can write an algorithm. Like, I can write a pseudo code.
Hmm.
That happened. Puzzles and everything was great. I was the only one who got selected. And that's how my entry to software happened. But then when I came to Bangalore and started working on Oracle, and then we had a extensive training of 3 4 months. एंड व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड बिल्डिंग समथिंग, यार आप कुछ कोड लिखो एंड देन आप उसे डिप्लॉय करो, और सडनली वो वेब के ऊपर खोलोगे तो जो आपने बनाया है वो दिखने लग जाता है. दैट वाज एन ऑसम फीलिंग, दैट वाज लाइक अमेजिंग फीलिंग. एंड दैट इज हाउ आई गॉट इंटरेस्टेड टुवर्ड्स computers. And then 5 years I was just working in Oracle trying to figure out how things work, and that like ignited my interest. I became like very very into the coding, and that's how my transition to a technologist, if you want to say, happened at that point of time.
But Akhil, this is such an interesting ride, and I think there are so many things which actually fall in place.
Yeah,
And that's why you resulted into starting India's first prop tech unicorn. But like for a college student, I don't think that those magical things are going to happen for everyone. Like Oracle coming in, or a tech company coming in, uh, without knowing programming, and you can enter into a company as a software developer. So there are so many amazing things which has happened. I think it's I think that there are so many, like everyone wanted you to become a CTO, and that's why it has
yeah.
happened.
I think
Uh,
I think destiny है यार. देखो hard work is one thing,
yeah,
destiny is one thing. So I always say that just hard work cannot take you anywhere, but without hard work you will not go anywhere, correct? So
yeah,
you need some bit of luck. दरवाजे खुल जाएंगे, correct? I'm sure if I would have not done Oracle, I would have done something else, and with my hard work, with some bit of luck, I would have done something great otherwise also. So everybody has the opportunity, so it's only about ऑनेस्टली अपना दिल लगा के अगर काम करोगे, उस काम में मजा आ रहा है, तो कुछ ना कुछ अच्छा तो डेफिनेटली होने वाला है. दैट इज माय बिलीफ. तो वो
got it.
हाँ.
So Akhil, अब now अगर मतलब anyone wants to basically work hard, we are not basically able to speak about their destiny. But if someone wants to basically have some tips and habits that they need to basically have while they are in college to dream of becoming a CTO someday, and that too for a unicorn, what are some of the tips and habits that someone needs to basically develop while in college?
या देखो, एक तो ये यूनिकॉर्न यूनिकॉर्न है ना, सब ठीक है, ये दीज आर लाइक साइड रिजल्ट्स जो आ जाते हैं. When I started, frankly, my single motivation was I had always worked on B2B companies. Oracle, there was a startup and all those things. When we were starting, किसी को नहीं
Hmm.
पता होता. I think when you also started, you are starting, you don't know where exactly you'll go, but it's a challenge, it's a problem which you love to solve. तो
Hmm.
मैंने तो ये सोचा था कि यार कुछ नहीं होगा तो I'll get to make B2C products. I'll understand the psyche of the end customer. If
Hmm.
not anything, क्या होगा, कुछ चार नई लैंग्वेज सीख जाऊंगा. How exactly you do HTML, CSS, which I had not done. I learned that particular thing, and it will just improve my knowledge. That is what it started with. Obviously, there was a passion for solving this particular problem. So, agar if you ask me, if somebody wants to become a CTO of Unicorn, I don't know whether somebody should dream like that. Somebody should dream, okay, I want to be a great technology person, a business person, or whatever they want to do it. Work hard toward that particular thing and keep yourself aware. Don't get into one single thing. Try out multiple things. And I think that has worked fabulously in my case. I have done technology. I have done management. I was general secretary of my hostel. I have played sports. I have done all kind of things. Like if you go and speak to my friends, people will not believe that this guy can be a technologist. Like so, so, so that gives a lot of understanding of how things work. And then जब जरूरत होती है, then you can just connect the dots and create things. So one is be aware, understand how things are happening, how world is changing around you. That is one thing. And then second one is there is no substitute to hard work. You'll have to do hard work. You'll have to work harder. And in our case, your case, my case, that IIT tag has given us initial thrust many times, correct? But after a while, it doesn't work. यार अब 15 साल 18 साल हो गए पास हुए हुए, कब तक हम IIT का ठप्पा लेके यूज हो? It's the
Correct.
hard work. It's something which you have to do, prove yourself. So if somebody is not from IIT, they may have to do it a little harder. That's the only thing. But
Hmm.
in No Broker also, we have so many people who joined from Masai, correct? And I think we would have had at least 30, 40 people by now. One number thoda bahut idhar udhar hoga. There's so many people who are doing fabulous, fabulous. Like on Friday, we had our quarterly awards. We promoted one person. We rewarded on quarterly award one of the Masai guys. And these guys are doing astonishingly well. अब ऐसा नहीं है कि हर बंदा कर रहा है, बट
Correct.
देर आर पीपल वो बोलते हैं मुझे सीखना है, आई वांट टू डू इट. तो अब
Hmm.
आप जब इनिशियल फेज, इनिशियल पार्ट ऑफ योर करियर, नो जस्ट डू हार्ड वर्क. ये मत सोचो वो बंदा क्या करता है, उसको क्या मिलता है, इसको क्या मिलता है. जितना तुम्हारी किस्मत में लिखा है, जितनी तुम मेहनत करोगे उतना तुम्हें डेफिनेटली मिलेगा. नोबडी विल बी एबल टू टेक इट फ्रॉम. अब हमारे यहाँ पे आई थिंक वी स्टार्टेड हायरिंग फ्रॉम Masai 2 years. The day you started, after that, I think it's almost
Yeah.
2 years. We have people who joined at that point of time, and they are growing into leadership positions now. We have people जिनकी salary हमने in a year we have made it double from wherever they have joined. There are people whom we have asked to go also at the same time because they were not
Hmm.
able to adapt. So
Yeah.
I think it's the honesty, it's the hard work, and it's believing in what is being given to you and trusting somebody who is putting that टाइम एंड द एफर्ट विद यू. फिर तो चीजें चलती रहेंगी. शुरू के 3-4 साल तो इसी में निकल जाएंगे. उसके बाद तो देन पीपल विल बी स्मार्ट टू टेक देयर ओन डिसीजंस.
Got it. So, Akhil, you have built a stellar team. Like I always love whenever I interact with any of the team members in No Broker, you've built a stellar team, and I think probably in Oracle also you might have led several stellar folks as well. What are some of the key things that you look for in in a candidate when you hire them? Those who are your must-have, and what separate your must-have from a maybe candidate kind of a role, because there are two kind of people there. What are some of the 3-4 things that you definitely want in every person that you hire?
So I think the topmost thing what we look into for a technology guy is not technology. It's the ownership and the problem solving skill. बंदा कितना स्मार्ट है, प्रॉब्लम चमकती है, बिजनेस चमकता है कि नहीं चमकता है, बिकॉज टेक्नोलॉजी तो क्या है, आज जो टेक्नोलॉजी चल रही है 5 साल बाद वो नहीं चलेगी. If you
Correct.
are able to solve the problem, you can learn the technology whatever you want. I think that is the most important thing what we look into. If people can speak up, a lot of time what happens, people get into silos. If they are not able to solve the problem, they think, "Arey, people will look down onto me. I should not talk about that particular thing." So people who are generally outspoken, people who can discuss their problem and take the ownerships, these are the key traits. Other than obviously they need to be smart on the technology bit also, but these are the key traits what we look into individuals.
Got it. So problem solving and ownership accountability is something which is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Akhil, right now we are living in a time where there are too much of news around layoffs and other things which are spreading. And I think this is one of the biggest elephant in the room right now. What do you think about the future of tech jobs? Because um, for consistently 3-4 days in a row, I've seen on Twitter tech layoff is the thing which was
Trending.
trending. And I think like wanted to understand that are tech jobs going to decrease with the news of layoffs? What are the focus of companies on hiring in the tech ecosystem?
Yeah, so we are almost 10 years, or I'll say 9 years since we started. We have not even laid off single person till date. Correct.
Hmm.
So layoffs happens when the economics doesn't match, correct? And what has happened in last 2 years is that the salaries have become disproportionate to the output what an individual engineer has been giving, correct? And people have raised money like anything, and पैसा आ गया तो खर्च करने के लिए they overhired people. So it's a layoff because they don't need people, but I don't think anything is going to change. We are hiring at this point of time. We are continuously hiring. Obviously, the pace of hiring has reduced. If I was like last year when we went to campus, we hired 40 people. This year we hired 18-20 people. So there will not be any dearth of employment or opportunities for people who are smart. You just have to keep yourself different from others. So uh, अभी हो जाएगा थोड़ा जॉब ढूंढने में 2021 में ऐसा था कि हाँ फोन करो, कोई बात करेगा, आपका रेज्यूमे देखेगा, बोलेगा कि हाँ, आ जाओ. एंड देन it was candidates market. People were taking one job, going to two other places, shopping around, saying नहीं मुझे वो इतना पैसे दे रहा है, वो इतना पैसे दे रहा है, वहां चले जा रहे हैं. So that pendulum has swinged a bit. It has come back to the
Normal.
normal side. So obviously, yeah, when somebody is hiring, they should take at least couple of rounds of interview, evaluate a person, and if you
Hmm.
are good, I don't think nobody is stopping you, and there will be dearth of opportunities. Cycle hai, this cycle happens every 5 years. We have seen this in 2015 also, correct? 15,
Correct.
16. वहाँ पे
Correct.
जब अब cycle का quantum बड़ा हो गया है, I'm sure this phase will pass by 23 end or something. फिर 28, 29 में फिर आएगा और फिर होगा. So this and technology is changing the world. Internet, technology, they are changing the world. ML, AI, they are changing the world. तो कुछ नहीं change होने वाला. इसमें सिर्फ opportunities बढ़ने ही वाली हैं. It may be a temporary pause which may come, but that doesn't mean कि यार technology में jobs खत्म हो जाएंगे or there will not be any opportunity. It's not going to happen. We'll have enough opportunities for everybody. अभी तो हमारे साथ problem ये है कि we don't have employable engineers. So
Yeah.
if we can upskill our new graduates, these graduates can be smart enough to pick up the technology while they are in college. They are able to upskill them so that they can add value from day zero to the company where they are going in. I don't think there will be any problem at all.
Got it. So I think you are still highly bullish about tech ecosystem for next 10 years at least. That is something which I can basically take it as a takeaway
Yeah.
from your message. Okay, cool. And what do you see? Like right now, Chat GPT is something which is ruling everything in terms of all the news is around Chat GPT. What potential do you see for AI, ML, Chat GPT, and how do you see, because I have seen some of the LinkedIn posts, Twitter posts, which is around people, those who don't understand technology much, they are speaking about that this is going to take away tech jobs also, not just other jobs. What do you think that what is going to happen from your point of view, with the advent of chat GPT, and now Lambda is something which Google has announced that they are going to come up with Lambda, which is similar to chat GPT. So what do you think is going to change for tech jobs?
Yeah, if you go back 15-20 years, correct, there was no Stack Overflow, there was no Google, correct. जब
Yeah.
लोग कोड लिखते थे, हमें याद है, हमारे पास फोर्ट्रान हमें सिखाया गया था, and our professor asked us to write Fibonacci series का code. Whole of the batch couldn't write it. I'm talking about
Yeah.
16 dual degree chemical engineering people IIT में, मतलब top 1200 में से कोई बंदा नहीं लिख पाया. प्रॉफ ने वो कोर्स ही खैच कर दिया और वो 3 क्रेडिट हमें कभी मिले ही नहीं.
Hmm.
Because there was no Google at that point of time, correct?
Hmm.
But Google came, Stack Overflow came. Now लोग क्या बोलते हैं? Then people used to say, yeah, now everything is in Google. People coding is not coding; it's just copy pasting from somewhere else and writing it down.
Hmm.
See, it will enable you. It will increase the speed at which you can do this stuff, but that cannot replace the human. So it may happen. So with ML, AI, Chat GPT, we also do a lot of AI within Notebook. What will happen is the jobs which are stagnant, which doesn't need human mind, which are repetitive in nature, which over the time makes human less progressive, मतलब वो same चीज बार बार किए जा रहे हो, that will become redundant. So earlier people used to have kudal and they used to dug it up, correct. Now there are
Yeah.
machines, correct, with which you
Yeah.
can do it. That is
Yeah.
just enabling you to do jobs faster and maybe make something which is bigger, which is not possible at this point of time. ML, AI, ChatGPT, whatever happens, they will just enable us to do something which we can't even think of at this point of time. We didn't think 10 years back you will be sitting like this, you will be in Jaipur, I'll be in Bangalore, somebody else across the globe, and we'll be talking like this. ठीक है,
Yeah.
किसी ने नहीं सोचा था. तो
Correct.
वो तो, so this is just enablers. We need to be with time, think how exactly these innovations are going to change the solutions which we need to build for future. But nothing changes on technology jobs, nothing changes in terms of the security of the jobs. ये तो रहने वाला है for sure.
Got it. Got it. And on a similar way, I think there are a couple of LinkedIn posts and different kind of posts that I've seen where uh, ChatGPT can solve college assignments, okay, the computer science assignments which are rolled out in any of the exams and other things. What do you think, like, because of these tools, which is making you productive, okay, how is it going to basically impact the college education in general? Because if there was one particular blog post which I've seen where all the university exams that they have for the entire 4 years in computer science, that is something which is solved by ChatGPT. So, what do you think?
So teachers and
Is
professors will also need to evolve, correct?
Yeah,
पहले क्या होता था? Like I'll just give you example. Like I've seen it for like 30-40 years. हम जब छोटे थे, 10th board, 8th board, and all those things, there used to be guides, correct? Kunji guides and all those things. People used to say 100 questions, 1,000 questions. You mug up those questions and you'll get questions from these things only. When things like Chat GPT is coming, the way exams are happening, that has to change, correct? You just can't have the same question ways and you can't use the same way of doing the exams. Kids don't know how to write now, but they know how to type, correct? So you can't say, "Ki, I want to have a cursive writing exam where I'll rate a kid ki how good you are writing, how good is your handwriting, because handwriting will become redundant in time to come. So similarly, these, as I'm saying, these are just evolvement which is happening. Things will change. Everybody will have to adapt according to it. College education also will change according to it. What is the need of theoretical exam? Why exactly I need to write answers? Maybe it will be much more practical going. Correct. So that may happen. And again, with these things, we'll figure out the ways. We'll figure out the ways. When COVID started, all the virtual education started, exams, nobody knew whether education will continue or not. Exams कैसे होंगे? People figure out कि Zoom पे हो रहा है, classroom के ऊपर हो रहा है, teachers figured out कि cheating भी हो रही है इसके ऊपर, how exactly I need to rationalize
Yeah.
and all those things. So it's a change. People will adapt, and education will also adapt to it. The mode of education will change, and mode of evaluation will change if these things become very big.
Got it. So I think like college education, professors and everyone needs to basically evolve really, really fast and adapt to
Yeah.
what is happening around us. But let's say some of the colleges are not able to basically adapt to this. And then it is all about students, those who need to basically do something about it. So what are some areas and development do you think students need to look out for whatever is going to happen in the future, and how can they take those anecdote and start doing it if the college is not basically helping them out, or not equipped to help them out? What are students need to basically do to be proactive enough and think about their development?
So if you so leave aside what exactly Chat GPT is going to do
Yeah.
to exams and
Yeah.
colleges, even when you think about today, correct? There are colleges, there are
Yeah.
IITs, there are NITs, there are local colleges, there are government colleges, there are private colleges. In many of the colleges, we don't even have the faculty, correct? People like the computer science graduate who's coming out of one uh, regional private college, he or she may not know what somebody else from NIT or IIT will know, correct? Because they have not got the education to that. So the onus is on the student to understand where exactly the market is going, and that's when a lot of edtech comes into the play, correct? With the courses available, upskilling available, things what you guys are doing at Masai, correct? Where you are picking somebody who wants to be upskilled, where somebody wants to be a front-end engineer, back-end engineer, data engineer, Android engineer. You train them on that particular thing so that they are job ready. So students will have to put in a lot of effort from their side to figure out what exactly they want to do. It may not happen in formal college education. It may it may be going through a transition. It will take time, but every student is just spending 3 4 years into the college. If it is not happening at their time in the college, they need to figure out alternatives. So there are so many upskilling platforms now, correct? Which helps you. There are so many courses which are there which you can do. The good thing is everything is available on internet. You can try it out in smalls and bits and pieces, and you can figure out where exactly your interest lies. Unlike us, me, I got into Oracle, and I was lucky that I got interest into the software engineer. What if I would have not got? Because if you remember 5 10 years back, if you are a software engineer and you apply for any general management job or vice versa, nobody would have taken you also on that. People used to think, "Nahi, yaar, you have been tagged to become a software engineer. You have to be like this." But now the world is changing. The way people perceive individual, that is also changing. So upskilling, keeping yourself aware of what is happening around you, that will make a lot of difference for these students going forward.
Got it. Got it. Sounds good, Akhil. I think like I don't have any other question, but if you have any parting notes for the college students, those who are listening to this on live webinar, and college education, colleges in general, that what they need to do, any parting thoughts from your end, that would be really, really great.
I think, see, the next decade or two, it belongs to India. Correct. There will not be any better time to be in India. Like if you see us, if you see our parents and their parents, India has just evolved. Correct. Everybody has seen hardship, and what we have done in last 75 years, that is going to give us benefit. Like it will reap the fruits of all the hard work which our forefathers have done in next 20 years to come. What should not happen is that we should not get complacent. That is something which I sometimes see with the new folks coming in. We take a lot of things for granted, right? And it's maybe because of generation gap. We are getting into the newer generations coming in. Our parents used to think, "Yeah, tum log samajhte nahi ho," and now we are saying they samajhte nahi hai. But one thing which I have always taken from my parents, and I want to imbibe in my kids also: be close to ground. जमीन पे रहो, समझो. People who are ahead of you, they are for a reason, correct? Maybe what we achieved in X years, these people may do it in X by 10 years. They may do it in 10% of the time, but still, People who are elder to you, they have done something. So just try to learn something out of them. जमीन से जुड़े हुए रहो. Don't get into the like कि हाँ हम तो stud हैं kind of a thing. Initial 4 5 years of your career, passing out of the college, will shape the destiny for you. So शुरू के 3 4 5 साल लग के मेहनत कर लो, जितनी चीजें ट्राई करनी है वो ट्राई कर लो. पैसा आ जाएगा, पैसा कहीं नहीं जाने वाला है. डोंट थिंक, मतलब व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड फॉर फर्स्ट 5 years माय सैलरी वाज मे बी, जो मेरे बैच के टॉपर्स थे उनसे शायद आधी होगी, करेक्ट. बट ओवर द टाइम जो आपकी लाइफ स्पेन है उसमें 10 15 साल के अंदर सब चीजें ऑप्टिमाइज हो जाती हैं, एंड एवरीबडी गेट्स व्हाट दे आर, व्हाट इज ड्यू फॉर देम डिपेंडिंग ऑन व्हाट दे हैव डन. तो शुरू के 4 साल 5 साल बहुत लग के मेहनत करके, find the right mentor, understand the value of mentorship. पैसा वैसा थोड़ा सा साइड में रख के figure out what you want to do, and then nobody can stop you from achieving whatever you want to do.
Sounds good, Akhil, and thank you so much for such a valuable advice to all the people out there. And thank you so much for taking out time on Sunday, Akhil. And